How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is David Feldman-Makrias, and today what I want to talk about is trimming the fat. How do we keep businesses in shape, agile, and ready to perform under any conditions? And how do we advise the businesses that we represent to be able to do just that? That's what I want to talk about in today's video, and just some useful tips and tricks to do just what that says, trim the fat. So what does that mean to trim the fat? Well, if we think about in a diet sense, right? What does that mean? Well, everything is about intake and output, right? So, or input and output, we can say. To really trim any fat, you have to. There's so many different diets. There's so many different things. I don't want to get too much into that realm. However, the basics is calories, right? Calories equals energy. And let's put this down here. Calories equals energy, right? So on a daily basis, there needs to be more calories used versus. I should define what this means first. So we'll say input calories that were taken in, output calories that were used throughout the day. So to trim the fat, you have to have your input needs to be less than your output. Maybe I should just call these input calories, right? And output calories. I mean, that's the basics, right? Behind any type of diet. Now, is there paleo, there's keto, there's intermittent fasting, there's all different ways to slice it. But in order to get the end result that you're looking for, your input's got to be less than the output. And I actually like putting it in this terms better. Output has to be greater than input. And that's really any type of success anywhere. If we measure, I'm reading a book by Ray Dalio. I mentioned this in my last video. But if we mention, he mentions this too, human capacity is also measured in input and output. So the input of this would be anything that is needed to keep human existence going. I'm stretching here. And then output is anything us humans give back to the world. A successful economy, a successful environment, a successful situation, again, happens when you trim the fat and basically when your output is greater than your input. So business is no different. And that is the basic essential of how we measure our ad campaigns, right? Return on investment or return on ad spend, ROAS, ROI. How do we trim the fat? We have to optimize our return. So in business, to trim fat, you must optimize the return. Return on what? Well, it depends on what business you're in. If you're selling products, one way to optimize product selling, example, selling products. One way to optimize product sales is to, through ads, you can do this. You can sell more or / advertise more of products that have larger margins. And margin equals the difference between, let's do a margin definition. It's pretty much the difference between revenue and cost, right? revenue and cost. So for our purposes, it would just be revenue minus cost. Revenue minus cost. Now, economic terms, margin. The edge or border. Collateral that a holder of a financial instrument has to deposit with the counterpart. Oh, this formula. Let's see what it says. Oh, that's profit margin. No, I just want margin. Measure of your business's profitability is expressed as a percentage and measure how much of each dollar in sales or services that your company keeps from its earnings. So I really shouldn't say margin in this. It's not margin. It's the spread. Sell more, advertise more products that have larger margins. Let's not define margin here. Sell more, advertise more products that have larger margins. Or what this means is advertise products more that have higher percentage of profit. So if we have product A with a 20% margin and product B with a let's say 35% margin, it makes more sense to advertise product B more than A, because the more you sell of B, then the more you sell of B, it makes more sense to advertise B more than A, because the more you sell of B, the more profit you will have. But the optimization comes in where there's the point balancing the point of diminishing returns. So, I mean, we're getting into like equations and stuff, but there will reach a point in any business model where you want to sell a very specific amount of product A and product B in order to optimize the whole situation. Because let's say you have to spend more on product B, even though product B makes you more, but then to spend less on product A makes more sense as far as cost, but it doesn't make you as much. So again, selling products, how do we trim the fat here? We have to optimize. We have to find the optimization of what we need to sell, and we want to get the most return possible. So where am I going with this, right? This is on an example of products, selling products. If I do selling service or labor, it's all like I've said in other videos, all about time, right? Optimizing the time, doing more things within shorter time. How do you do that? You get the right tools, you get the right people, you get the right knowledge, so on and so forth. So how can this be applied to business, trimming the fat? Most businesses, I'm going to say most businesses have competition, right? So that means none of the businesses that we have is unique. I don't know many businesses, if at all, that don't have a competitor. They all do in some way, shape, or form. All businesses have a competitor of some sort. Someone or some entity trying to sell a similar product, service, or idea with comparable pricing. Every business has that. So what does that mean? I mean, certain businesses are going to have less competitors. Certain businesses are going to have more, right? So like your local Ford dealer, that's going to have a lot less. That's going to have a lot more competition than an obscure tool that goes on a key ring or something like that. Yeah, or that's going to have less competition. Car manufacturers have more competition, but their market is bigger, right? So you have to take the size of the market. That's how you analyze the competition, competitive advantage, all that kind of stuff. But what I want to talk about is not that part. What I want to talk about is, why did I bring up competitors? I brought up competitors because all businesses are not unique. And this is key. They are not unique. None of them. I don't care if it's wealth management, it's um, wealth management, consultation, selling products, selling cars, Amazon, eBay, as large as those scales, Google, Bing, all businesses are not unique. They do promote characteristics to make them unique and more appealing, but inherently they are not unique. So what does that mean? If they're not unique, you have to make it unique, right? How do you make this unique? I'd say one way, especially now in modern times, it's super important to be the quickest. First to market. So example, agile, first to market, speed. Oh, reconnecting. Hopefully my video is saving. It's super important to be fast. So anything you can do that's faster is better, in my opinion, especially for a service-based business, because there's so many obstacles and distractions in the way for the modern age/business owner, especially if you're dealing with computers, cell phones, what have you. There's ads popping up at you. There's different websites. There's all this different technology. There's all this different learning, from advertising and marketing to platforms to all this and all that. You got to be fast. You got to be fast. So what does that mean in practical terms? How do we get faster? Well, you have to iterate, meaning do something over and over again. Take a step back. Look at what you're repeating, and then find a way so you don't have to repeat it again and it's done for you. One thing I use religiously is a password editor, especially being in the digital marketing field. I have probably 300 Gmails. I have hundreds of other platforms and passwords I need to remember at any given time. I use a combination of spreadsheets, and I use a combination of password protectors and password extensions that allow me to be as quick as possible. And that way, when I'm navigating, I'm moving, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, all that kind of good stuff. So like passwords is an example. LastPass, Google Passwords. Is that what they call it? Google Passwords. My internet's so slow right now. Yeah, Google Password Manager. Right, those are examples. So, say tangible examples. Passwords, Google Password Manager, project management systems. I think these would be great for any business, not just digital. If you run a small management team, I would highly recommend to just enlist you guys in a project management tool, because it allows you to plan work. It allows you to organize communication centrally with whatever assets you need to create and move from, whether it's pictures, media, video, instructions, charts, organization, data. It's so big, right? Also, data streamlining and management. That's another key too. So we have passwords, we have project management systems, we have data streamlining and management platforms. So a platform that aggregates data from multiple sources, is reliable, and centralizes information in a digestible way to make well-informed, simple decisions. That is so key. How do we aggregate all this data? Every single business has this right now. I don't care if you're selling products or you're selling service or you're selling ideas or you're selling software. Everything has it, whether it's your CRM, your DMS, your CMS, anything with three letters as an acronym. Having data streamlining in one management platform for you to make decisions. And if you have to use multiple management platforms to make decisions, that's okay. That's okay too. Now, you should have them all open, right? See, look at my tabs up here. I have everything organized in a very specific order, and I can literally go to any single thing that I need right away. And my computer is quick, right? So having well organized systems, i.e., tab management. If you're on computers, calendars, etc., those are big too. And then what else? Well organized systems, tab management. What else can we do to trim the fat? You don't want to optimize every second, right? You don't want to optimize every second because then you'll drive yourself insane with optimization. So besides well-organized systems, I'm going to end with this one too. What else can you do? You can put it on the board. Yes. What else can you do to trim the fat? Honestly, evaluate people's time. That's the most valuable commodity that we have in this earth. Money is not. Time is. Time is the most valuable commodity on earth today because of its limited limitations or limited, how do I say, limitations. Scarcity? Yeah. Not scarcity, but because it's limited, finite, etc. If you're not evaluating people's time, even if you're selling a product, you're missing out on trimming the fat. How do you evaluate people's time? Well, you can do that. You can do this through a project management system. Let's say you have 3 tasks for a team member, right? And then add a column to have them input 1, how long they think it'll take to complete the task. And then 2, how long did it actually take to complete the task? The reason you do this is because then you make people aware, and it doesn't take that long. Do it in specific increments, right? 15 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. Quarters is fine. 15, 30, 45, an hour. Those usually work well because people can think about that in time. And that's 15, 20 minutes is the time it takes for you to get started on a task and kind of get into the flow. So I would measure in quarter of an hour increments because it's easier to evaluate and comprehend. Now, you don't want to spend all your time evaluating how much time it takes, but you should have some rough estimate. If there's repeatable things and you're trying to iterate, whether it's like you have an employee that takes pictures of certain products. Well, you should know how long it takes them to do 5 cars, roughly. So when they plan their day and you help them plan their day, you can say, okay, 5 cars, maybe plus or minus a car. So if 5 cars taking pictures takes, 1 car takes 20 minutes, then you understand, okay, how long will it take to do all this? So it's finding those repeatable tasks and then putting time to it. Oh, I screwed up here. So finding the repeatable tasks and measuring their time value. And then if you really want to optimize, in order to optimize this, see how much value that produces in revenue, either directly or indirectly. So this one's a little more tricky. So like if we stick with the car example, how long, so let's say it takes person 1 hour to take pictures of 5 cars. Well, the revenue generated from those 5 cars, is X. So what does that mean? So how much does pictures affect the revenue of 1 car? So then picture revenue to 1 car. And these are, like you can get so nitty gritty with this stuff. I'm just trying to give examples of how you can actually go about your given day and optimize it, right? Trimming the fat. The biggest way to trim the fat is really time and evaluating people's time here. You can do that through project management systems, and you can also implement tools that only cost dollars per month, but save people so much time. You know how much time people waste with passwords? I could probably Google it. How much time is spent during the day getting passwords? I bet you Google has something for it. Up to 11 hours spent every day resetting passwords. Every year resetting passwords. How much time do people spend resetting passwords? How often do users forget? More than half the Americans say they have to execute at least 5 password resets month on average, spending at least 10 minutes each time doing so. This won't solve anything permanently. However, as 57% add they will forget their new password immediately upon resetting it. So it's time that you can get back let's say it's 10 minutes each time doing so times 5, so that's an hour, right? So that's an hour of somebody's time. If you pay a LastPass subscription for $7 a month, well, if it's a manager and a manager has to keep like flipping back and forth and blah, 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 it's not just about wasting the time there. It's about wasting the time trying to find the information. It's about wasting the time whoever they're with, and then that time's gone. You need to be as effective as possible. I'm not trying to sell password management, even though I love it, but how can you find the little things to make you quicker? Find the repeatable tasks that you have to do over and over and over again. B, measure those repeatable tasks in time. C, train whoever or whatever to do those repeatable tasks, and then measure how fast and optimized they can do that. And then you can have some cost to what it is. And using that number, you can back in to whatever the revenue is. It's easier on a service job rather than products because service is directly labor. So you're exchanging labor for whatever the good is. It's easier. But time. Trim the fat. The answer to trimming the fat is getting more time back. These are some ideas on how to do that and some unique examples on how to do that. And I hope this brought some value to you guys today. I'll be posting more content like this. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. If you like this content, check it out again. Watch, subscribe, and I'll talk to you shortly. See ya.